Another 3 days have passed, and it's time for another episode of our show to summarize the significant events brought to us by spaceflight. In the first topic, we'll focus on the International Space Station, where 2 Russian cosmonauts conducted a spacewalk. The second and third topics will feature Chinese orbital launches. First, we have the launch of a radar satellite, followed by the launch of 7 small satellites. On August 9th at 1444 Universal Time, the Russian spacewalk with the designation VKD-60 began. Cosmonauts Sergei Prokopyev and Dmitry Petelin embarked on this spacewalk. Both men are easily distinguishable in the footage. While Prokopyev wore the Orlan MKS spacesuit with red stripes, his colleague Petelin had the same type of suit but with blue stripes. The Prokopyev-Petelin duo is already quite accustomed to each other. This was their 6th joint spacewalk. While for Prokopyev, it was his 8th spacewalk in his career, Petelin experienced his 6th spacewalk. This means that Petelin had only gone on spacewalks with Prokopyev so far. During this spacewalk, several tasks awaited both men. One of the main ones was related to the Rassvet module, where the duo installed additional meteor protection. Specifically, they needed to cover the areas where small airlock chamber and radiator had been temporarily stored in previous years. However, these components were relocated to the Nauka module in recent months, leaving the vacated space in need of the protection that we mentioned. Another task was related to the Nauka module itself, specifically the European robotic arm attached to it. Sergei Prokopyev secured himself to one end of the arm with his feet, and the testing of this construction's control was underway. The ERA arm can be controlled not only from the outer shell of the station, but also from its interior. This task was handled by Andrei Fedyaev. The last important task was the completion of the material cleanup left from the previous spacewalk. Both men managed all tasks successfully, and they could return to the airlock of the Poisk module. The entire spacewalk ended at 21:19 Universal Time, lasting 6 hours and 35 minutes. It was also the 12th and final spacewalk dedicated to the completion and testing of the Nauka module. You are currently looking at footage from the launch of the Chinese Long March 2C rocket, which took off on August 8th at 22:53 Universal Time from the Taiyuan Satellite Launch Center. The Long March 2C rocket has been in use since 1982 and boasts exceptional reliability. This rocket has launched 71 times and failed only once in 2010. This rocket consists of 2 stages, both of which burn liquid propellants, unsymmetrical dimethylhydrazine and dinitrogen tetroxide. These propellants create the typical orange-brown exhaust clouds. The Long March 2C stands at approximately 42 meters in height and can deliver nearly 4 tons of payload to low Earth orbit. If flying on a Sun-synchronous orbit, its capacity ranges between 1.5 to 2 tons. Let's talk about the current mission. The Long March 2C rocket was flying on a sun-synchronous orbit at an altitude of approximately 490 to 500 kilometers, with an inclination of approximately 97.5 degrees. On board, we find a single satellite called Huanjing 2F, also known as SSAR-02. The second name tells us what is characteristic of this satellite. It is equipped with a synthetic aperture radar operating in the S-band. Like other satellites in the Huanjing series, it's intended for environmental monitoring and rapid response after natural disasters. Huanjing 2F can achieve a spatial resolution of up to 5 meters. And this, for a change, is the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center, from where a small rocket, the Series 1, took off on August 10th at 4:03 Universal Time. The Series 1 rocket, created by Galactic Energy, is only 19 meters tall. It's a 4-stage carrier rocket using solid propellants for the first 3 stages and liquid propellants for the 4th stage, which is designed for precise orbital adjustments. This rocket made its debut in 2020, and this was its 7th launch, all of which have been successful. Series 1 can deliver a payload of 400 kilograms to low Earth orbit. When flying on a sun-synchronous orbit at an altitude of 500 kilometers, its payload capacity drops to 300 kilograms. The Series 1 rocket typically carries several small satellites, as was the case this time. Under the aerodynamic fairing, there were a total of 7 small satellites, all flying on a sun-synchronous orbit. We currently know the purpose of only 4 of these satellites, the Xi'an Hangtu, which are meant for Earth observation. The tasks of the remaining 3 satellites will be disclosed later. Thank you for watching Spaceflight News, and if you don't want to miss any episodes, you can simply subscribe. Our show also has a Twitter account. You can find the link in the video description. We're preparing not only posts with links to new episodes of our show, but also updates on the latest developments in spaceflight, as well as beautiful photos from this field.